Hey everybody, Emma here, also known as 8vinyllow, bringing you all another video. Today's video is going to be my Christmas 2022 vinyl editions video. I have a couple of gifts from family and a few of my friends that I wanted to share with all of you in a kind of vinyl finds, vinyl haul video. So right off the bat, we're going to kick off with two vinyl editions from my sister. Now, my sister is a huge fan of this band, and this is a band that of course I was familiar with, and I actually really love their debut album. I have their debut album in my collection. I'm also a huge fan of their main guitarist. He's one of my favorite guitarists, probably in my top 10. But for the most part, outside of course, their hit songs and then that debut album, I wasn't just really, I didn't know a lot about their overall discography. I mean, it's huge. It's one of the largest discographies out there, but I didn't know a lot. But ever since she took me to go see my first show by this band last summer, and I did a video on that experience, I've really been just getting into learning more about their discography. So of course, because of that information, and of course because of my sister's love for this band, she gifted me a couple of albums from Chicago. So the first album that I have is Chicago 2, and although this isn't as great in my opinion as their debut album CTA, this is still a good album to have in the collection. Again, I'm learning more and more about these songs and the discography as I go through, but it has 25 or 6 to 4 on here, so obviously that's the big one I would assume from this record. This is a reissue that was put out by Friday Music on this beautiful blue vinyl. They have been reissuing a lot of like limited limited edition anniversary reissues, and so this is one of them. I also have the red vinyl limited edition of the CTA anniversary reissue. So this was obviously a great addition to the collection. And she also grabbed me, and this one I'm not really that familiar with, of course, is the case as I've been kind of explaining, but this one just, I kind of know the cover, but that's about it. I think this is Chicago 8 from what I looked up. This is also a Friday Music reissue, I'm guessing some anniversary edition. This is just on standard black vinyl, but the songs that kind of catch my attention right away that I feel like I've heard before include Harry Truman and then Old Days on the back. And I think Old Days has been a staple in their live shows over the last handful of years. So yeah, so these are the two albums that my sister got me, of course, from Chicago. I'm really excited to dig into these albums. I also have a couple of other Friday Music anniversary editions on pre-order that are coming out in the new year. So just, yeah, excited to kind of go more in depth with this discography. It's large, it is going to take some time, but I'm excited about it. So, and of course, as I was kind of referencing in the beginning, Terry Kath, one of my all-time favorites. The next handful of gifts are from the youngest members of the VC gift exchange. We got on a Zoom a couple of days ago and opened these up with each other and had some good laughs over a couple things and so on, which, by the way, keep your eye out. There is going to be another trip this summer. I don't want to spoil too much, but youngest members of the VC in 2023 are taking something. So we will be traveling, and you'll get more information on that as time goes on. But the first handful of albums came from Marichen over at Marichen's Music and Jared. And the first album that she put into my hands is, of course, you know, Marichen, the Queen of Queen. She gave me Roger Taylor's 1981 debut album, his solo debut, Fun in Space, which, interesting cover for sure. It's kind of creepy, but we'll go with it. This is featuring the hit singles Let's Get Crazy, Fun in Space, and Future Management, limited first pressing on clear vinyl. So I haven't even opened this yet. I haven't listened to this yet, but I'm excited to dig into this. She also gave me Roger Taylor's newest release, which is The Outsider, I believe it's called, which is phenomenal, especially if you, all things considered, with his age and so on. And then she also gifted me his album Strange Frontiers, which I absolutely loved. That is a kick-ass album. His voice, I'm just a huge fan of. So Fun in Space, I don't know a lot about this album, but of course, Marichen, the Queen of Queen, and just Roger Taylor. His voice is incredible. So I'm sure that I will definitely get a kick out of this release. So I'm excited to listen to that. She also got me, you guys, so I didn't have this in my collection, and if you followed our trip last year back in the summer to St. Louis, you know that I was kind of filling out gaps in my collection, and one area that I have been slacking on is my Led Zeppelin collection, and that's basically just because I feel like, they're readily available to grab when I want them. So I don't know if that made sense, but you guys get what I'm saying. So I have been slacking in my Zeppelin collection, but I have slowly been filling in the gaps, and she finally added this staple to my collection. I didn't have this before, but Zeppelin 3, finally have this in the collection. This is the 180 gram reissue. Of course, you guys have Immigrant Song on here, Gallows Pole remastered by Jimmy Page, a replica of the original sleeve. So yes, I am so excited to finally have this album in my collection. It's just one that I've put off. I know it very, very well, of course, but we finally have that. So thank you, Marichen, for adding that to the collection. And then she also sent me one more album from a band that she has also been really getting me into as of recently. She gifted me one of their albums, I think maybe it was last year for Christmas. I can't remember the name of the album, but it is more of like a bluesy release from this band. This band is kind of like a hard rock, southern rock type band. But the one that she gave me, I think it was last year or something like that, maybe a newer release, kind of had a more bluesy-esque sound to it. And you're going to get that with these southern rock bands to begin with. But so I'm talking about Blackstone Cherry. This is a band from Kentucky, and of course Marichen is from Kentucky, and this is a band that is near and dear to her heart. And the album name, actually, of this album, this is an earlier release from the band. I think it's from 2016, so earlier than the one that she gave me a year or so ago. This is called Kentucky. It's on 180 gram transparent vinyl limited edition. I did sample this album already, and I have to say this is absolutely amazing. So if you enjoy hard rock, southern rock type sound, I think you'd really get a kick out of this album and this band. I've heard a lot of great things about this band from other members of the VC. They say that Blackstone Cherry is a great live band. I know Marichen has seen them a handful of times, so I'm definitely starting to jump on this Blackstone Cherry bandwagon. So thank you, Marichen, for introducing me to this band, and this album was incredible. And I will say she did give me a heads up of her favorite song off of this, which is the last song called The Rambler. That song will bring a total tear and or a lot of tears to your eye. Really, really heartfelt song. So thank you, Marichen, for these goodies. Again, I can't wait to dig into that Roger Taylor. Moving along, the next couple albums are from Dylan over at the Record Spinner. He also helped fill in some gaps in my collection, and the first one was the last recent half-speed mastered Abbey Road Studios release, a reissue that they've been doing with this band, and that is The Who, a quick one. Again, this half-speed mastering, they've done this with a couple of albums. They've done this with My Generation, they've done this with Tommy, they have done the half-speed mastered for like a record store day with Odds and Sods. So I think that this is the last one so far that they've done with this half-speed mastering. So wanted to add this in the collection, and he definitely delivered, which is a great early Who release, Happy Jack, 1966. So I ended up getting that. And then he also sent me an album from a band that I really do enjoy, but an album that I'm not familiar with at all. He sent me an album from Rush called Grace Under Pressure. This is the 200 gram audiophile vinyl. And so, yeah, I was not familiar, I'm still not familiar with this album. The only thing that he told me when I was talking to him about it was that it's a very sentimental album to him. So I'm excited to dig into this. I'm assuming this is from the 80s. That would be my best guess. I don't know. But I'm excited to listen to this. Like I said, I wasn't familiar with this. Maybe I've seen this cover a couple of times, but I'm excited to listen to this. can't go wrong with some Rush, and of course Neil Peart is a drumming god. All right, the last couple of albums came from Jenna over at Spins and Needles, and she definitely helped fill in some major blues gaps in my blues collection. I finally have this in the collection. Black Magic, the Magic Sam Blues Band, great album coming straight out of the Chicago blues scene. The first album that he released, West Side Soul, he only released a couple and he died very, very young. West Side Soul is an absolute must-have for any just blues lover, record collector in general, and then of course this one is no exception to that as well. Black Magic, Magic Sam Blues Band, this is the best of the best when it comes to Chicago electric blues. So she added this into the collection, and then she added another must-have blues album, and she said this was her favorite blues album, or one of her favorites, but we got T-Bone Blues by T-Bone Walker. This is the Friday Music reissue, and I am so excited to have this one in the collection. So Jenna definitely hooked it up in the blues department. Jenna, thank you so much for sending these my way. I cannot wait to listen to these. I haven't listened to those two yet. I've listened to them before, but not on vinyl, so excited to finally have these in the collection. The last album that I want to showcase in this video is kind of a Christmas present to myself. Marichen, a couple of weeks ago, was at Mellow Matt's in Bowling Green, Kentucky, her local record store, and she shared with me that this was sitting in the shop. This is a bootleg. This is a pretty popular Cheap Trick bootleg. This is called Trick or Treat. This one and Samurai Rock Band would be, like, I would argue, the two big bootlegs from the band, and the California Man bootleg with the yellow border around it. But this is an album that I actually did not have in the collection. I have another bootleg, I think, called Boston Tea Party with the same picture, and so when she first sent it, I thought that I already had this, especially with this being a well-known bootleg. I just thought that I had it in my collection. But then after further research, I realized, oh my gosh, I did not have this. So of course, I told her, please pick it up, send her some funds, and she graciously shipped this my way. So again, thank you to Marichen for spotting this, and for Mellow Matt for selling this. This is great. And yeah, so this was kind of like my Christmas present to myself. So obviously a wonderful addition to my Cheap Trick collection. You cannot go wrong with that. But that's about all. That's all I have for you guys for this video. Again, just wanted to kind of hop on here and show all of you what I received for gifts from the Christmas holiday. I hope that all of you are doing well, and I will see all of you for my next video. Bye, guys.